All right, folks, I'm okay, and it's time to do a podcast.
You are Locked On MLB, your daily MLB podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, baseball fans. Welcome to Locked On MLB, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. This is the daily podcast. We talk about all of Major League Baseball. I'm your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully. Follow us at Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter or whatever it's called now, and on Instagram. You can follow me. Probably the best way to get a hold of me is via Instagram, where I'm at Sully Baseball Podcast, or just leave a message here if you're watching us on the YouTubes. And today's episode is brought to you by our good friends over at Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. So, you can see that I am not at the Sully Baseball Studios in Pasadena, California, overlooking the historic Rose Bowl. I'm at a Little League field in Long Beach, California, home of Cal State Long Beach, the alma mater of many future major leaguers, including Troy Tulowitzki went here, Evan Longoria went here, and their big star was Jason Giambi. Back when he was a skinny third baseman, he attended college right here in Long Beach. Thanks for the notices. As some of you know, where I live is the big fire in Pasadena, and I don't even know the full extent of all the damage that was done and the loss there. And obviously, it's going to be heartbreaking when we go back. We've been here since we were evacuated on Wednesday, and we've been here now. It's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So you forgive me if I didn't get a show up on Wednesday or Thursday, but I felt compelled to do one today. And because there's some news, and also because this is the sort of thing that, I don't know, when you have an event like what happened, you want to have some sense of normality. That's kind of nice. So instead of having me doomsday watch my hometown on the news, I'm going to talk a little baseball with you and my friends. And by the way, I did receive a bunch of notices on YouTube, on the Twitterverse, on Blue Sky, and on Instagram and other places. Thank you very much, everyone who wrote asking if I'm okay. Yeah, it was. We got out of there. Let's see the fire, and there you go. That's all I'm going to talk about there. And also, just if you have political or conspiracy theories about the fire and everything going on, do yourself a favor and shut the hell up. Hope that wasn't too political for you all. Let's talk baseball, shall we? The big news over the last couple of days, at least, in terms of baseball, was the signing of Justin Verlander. Justin Verlander signed a one-year deal with the San Francisco Giants. And I think it was Keith Law who said this, I've attributed it to him, is that there's no such thing as a bad one-year deal. And Justin Verlander, who has won a pair of Cy Young Awards since being traded to the Astros, he sandwiched the Cy Young between injury-plagued seasons and the COVID year, but he of course has become a major part of a couple of pennant winners with the Tigers, the World Series title that we shall not mention, and then the World Series title, which everyone's fine with, in Houston. He was a Cy Young Award winner for the second one of those two. He is signing with the Giants. I have to say, I am surprised by that signing. I thought it was almost a guarantee in my mind that he was going to have a reunion in Detroit. Verlander's clearly at the end of his career. He has a year or so probably left in his contract, and he's going to sit on his giant pile of money with a supermodel wife and start rehearsing his speech for Cooperstown. Even with the Astros scandal of 2017, none of it seems to be on him. So he's obviously a Hall of Famer, and for current players, he is the career leader in wins and strikeouts of all current starters, a little more than his former teammate, Max Scherzer. And as a signing for the Giants, it's not bad. I really thought going to Detroit was going to be a great place for him because it's sort of like the last step. The last thing is to try to win a title with the team that, brought him into the major leagues. And not only that, the Tigers are good. Lest we forget, they nearly got to the ALCS. And they have the defending Cy Young Award winner, which is one reason why I made a prediction at the beginning of the offseason. And at one point when all the major free agents are signed, we will review my predictions. Some of them have come true. Some of them have been way off. But I thought that a reunion with his old manager, Hinch, remembers the manager of Detroit, and to be, take a Cy Young Award winner under his arm, or under his wing, or whatever, under his flipper, whatever it's under, to have a Hall of Famer be alongside him. I equated that as being kind of like when Albert Pujols did not have his best years with Anaheim, but Mike Trout has said having a Hall of Fame MVP type player on the team while he was blossoming was a great influence on him. I thought maybe that would work. But he signs with San Francisco. As Buster Posey is like, I want to win. I'm used to winning every other year. What is this not winning crap that we're dealing with in San Francisco right now? And the Adames signing was a good signing. The Giants have been in on several other players, but they've not come through. So Verlander, and of course they've lost Blake Snell. And losing Blake Snell is not a small thing. They lost him to a division rival. And, Blake Snell didn't pitch basically the first half of the season. There was the travesty of his free agency and no one signing him. But when he started to pitch well, lest we forget, he threw a damn no-hitter with the team. And Los Angeles is going to be the one to be the recipient of him having a full spring training and not wondering where the hell he's going to play the next year. And a manager will probably let him finish the sixth inning. Forgive me, we're doing this outside, so a helicopter just flew overhead. Or maybe it was a plane, I'm not even going to look up. But right now, he's going to sign with the Giants. So they're replacing one multiple Cy Young Award winner with another. It's weird that, Blake Snell is a multiple Cy Young Award winner, but probably not a Hall of Famer. But you got Verlander. He's going to sign. Logan Webb is still in the rotation. Another former Cy Young Award winner is there in Robbie Ray. What are they going to get out of Robbie Ray? If Robbie Ray comes back, and you're not even asking him to be the Cy Young winner, Robbie Ray. Just be a good pitcher. You're not asking Justin Verlander to be the great Justin Verlander in his Tiger days and in those great years he had with the Houston Astros. Just be good. You also look up, they have Kyle Harrison. Hey, there's a young, Kyle Harrison, the Giants' top pitching prospect, is 23 years old. He's thrown 159 career innings in the major leagues. He's their top pitching prospect. So surrounding him with solid pitchers isn't the worst thing in the world to do. And, Jordan Hicks has been in the rotation, but is he going to be, are they going to use him in the bullpen? Are they going to use him in the rotation? I don't know. Posey, when he pitched or when he caught for the Giants, always had deep pitching staffs. Obviously, the years where they had Kane and Lincecum and Bumgarner, and they had Brian Wilson and Jeremy Affeldt, and they had Javi Lopez and Santiago Casilla and, Sergio Romo. And then they would have a lot of solid veterans. Brad Penny was on one of those teams. Jake Peavy was on one of those teams. Barry Zito didn't pitch great in all those years, but he was a solid veteran. He came through in the postseason against the Tigers. Lest we forget, one of Justin Verlander's greatest seasons was 2012 when he was invincible as the defending Cy Young Award winner. He didn't win the Cy Young that year, but he probably could have. And game one of that World Series against San Francisco was the Giants against the Tigers, Verlander against Zito, And it was an absolute mismatch. Everyone was basically writing in ink that the Tigers were going to win game 1. And instead, Pablo Sandoval said, "Hold my garlic fries," and launched 2 home runs off of Verlander and added a third one for good measure. Maybe that's why Verlander is coming to the Giants. I'll tell you one thing. Verlander, you probably will not remember Verlander will play for the Giants when he's giving his Hall of Fame speech in 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it is. And there's going to be that moment when people are going to look at his plaque and say, he played for the Mets and the Giants? When did that happen? Kind of like Randy Johnson, pitched for the Giants. Steve Carlton, pitched for the Giants. They'll do the same thing with Max Scherzer saying, he pitched for the Mets and the Dodgers? Did I miss that? Yeah, you did. But guess what? Steve Carlton picked up an extra ring pitching for the Minnesota Twins, and sometimes it can work out. Carlton didn't do much for that Twins team, but, he didn't hurt. So the Giants are saying, hey, at least get us some major league pitchers here, roll the dice, and go for that wild card. You can do worse than a Hall of Famer. I'm telling you, I love going to live events. I went to so many ball games last year in many, many different places, but I love to see music, theater, comedy. I went to see the National League Championship Series last year at Dodger Stadium, and I tell you, the energy was off the charts. And I got my tickets through Gametime. Gametime made it easy to get your tickets for your favorite events with our new feature, Gametime Picks. This feature filters out the fluff. Say that 3 times fast. To show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. When I got my tickets for the National League Championship Series, I used the Gametime app, and I got a great deal, and I got to see my seat. Full 360-degree view from where I was sitting in Dodger Stadium. And let me tell you something. The best part for me, they got the all-in pricing from the app. It shows the total cost up front, no surprise fees at the checkout. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? It's game time. Now, Sasaki is still available, and there's some rumors that the Seattle Mariners are basically doing a full court press to sign him, including getting Ichiro Suzuki to say, come on, you'll love Seattle. I'm all for Seattle doing anything to improve their chances to win, especially when you consider that the Astros aren't going to be as strong as they've been recently. The Mariners barely missed the playoffs the last couple of years. And, say it with me, they're the only team in baseball to never have hosted a World Series. Ever. Seattle is the final frontier. Except Sacramento, but they're not even allowed to host a playoff game. I want the A's to win so badly you don't even know. Hell, have the A's sign them. The A's have to spend some money to prove they're not a bunch of colluding, money-grubbing, sucking parasites. God, the A's, that organization, they're just all hucksters. They're all fraudsters. If they just, why didn't they just sell the damn team? And it makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me when billionaires are dissatisfied. You're a billionaire. Go buy a house and, watch freaking home improvement shows. Do something. I don't get it. Maybe that's a pathology. But the A's or the Mariners should be really in on that. But there was another move that happened the other day. Not one of those big headline-grabbing news, but Andrew Kittredge signed with the Orioles. Now, Andrew Kittredge, you know how there's sometimes actors that you confuse? I always like to bring up, Bill Pullman and Bill Paxton and Dylan McDermott and Dalbert Mulrooney is one of the more famous ones. Where you go, wait, which one is this? Well, in the late 2010s, early 2020s, there seemed to be a parade of nondescript white guys who were very good relievers for the Tampa Bay Rays. It's just the case. And I was sitting here concentrating, thinking, wait a minute, is that Fairbanks or was that Kittredge that was signed? And I looked it up and I was like, which one was which? Well, Kittredge was an all-star in 2021 and was yet another guy who was just a solid reliever for many, many years with the Tampa Bay Rays. As I said, made an all-star team for his troubles, played in the postseason a few times. And they signed with Baltimore out of St. Louis. I completely forgot he played for St. Louis last year. And you will have to forgive me on that. Because neither the Rays nor the Cardinals were really that memorable last year. And so you'll forgive me if a solid, if memorable as a crouton reliever went from one team to another and didn't contend last year. Because when I said, wait a minute, wasn't he with Tampa? He was with St. Louis? No, that was Fairbanks. No, that was Kittredge. That was basically my thought process. You'll forgive me, my town caught on fire. So Kittredge signing with Baltimore, yet another one-year deal. They signed Charlie Morton the other day. They brought in Kittredge. I see what the Orioles are doing. I do. When you take a look at, they're basically saying they are just going to try to have this pitching staff be as deep as humanly possible. They just lost their ace. They went for broke last year as the defending American League East champs. And for a big chunk of this year, they were neck and neck with the Yankees. Remember when the Yankees absolutely collapsed just before the All-Star break? The Orioles were in first place. Well, as it turned out, the Yankees had a better second half, and the Orioles, blink and you missed it, were pushed out of the postseason by an upstart Kansas City Royals team. And then they lost their ace to the Diamondbacks of all teams. So they're still looking up, realizing there is a window of opportunity. Yes, the Yankees are the defending American League champs. Yes, the Yankees have made a bunch of, good moves that should improve the team. They also lost an MVP candidate. I also don't trust their defense yet. And Aaron Boone is still the manager. They don't emphasize things like smart baseball or defense or anything like that. Thus, the scouting report, just put the ball in play on the Yankees and you'll win. The American League East is winnable. The Yankees are favored and should be. They're a high 80, low 90 win team. Last year they won 94 games. I don't think, as they're constituted right now, I think last year's team was better, but I think this team's still going to be fine. If they have one more trade chip, which is Marcus Stroman, who I think the Orioles should be asking about. But let me get into a little bit why. You take a look at the team. Now, Felix Bautista is coming back from Tommy John surgery. Now if he comes back and it is merely good, Andrew Kittredge is a good reliever, and he'll be fine. They picked up Sir Anthony Dominguez in the deal with Philadelphia last year. They got Yenier Canome. They got Cionel Perez. They got Keegan Aiken. They've got about 4 or 5 guys in their bullpen who are not bad, especially if Bautista comes back in any way, shape, or form. That's a deep bullpen. Now, don't run that bullpen in the ground. As you take a look at their starting pitching staff, they just acquired, losing an ace, a legit Cy Young contender like Corbin Burns sucks with a capital sucks if you're a Baltimore fan. So what do? They have Tomoyuki Sugano, a veteran. They're not asking long-term from him. He's a respected veteran from Japan. Get one good season out of him. If you get one good season out of Charlie Morton, that's not bad. They still have Grayson Rodriguez. They still have Dean Kramer, and they have a young Cade Povich. I think they should be absolutely taking a look at that sinfully deep farm system they have, and can they trade for Luis Castillo with Seattle? Can they trade with Sonny Gray, the deal with St. Louis? Or could they deal with Marcus Stroman? I mean, all these are moves that I think they can, should, and must make. Forgive me, I'm doing this outside of a Little League field. I just dropped my notes. Normally I have a computer in front of me. Today I have notes. But if they do that, does that make up for Corbin Burns? No, of course it doesn't. But does it make sure that they have solid major leaguers coming out of the rotation every day and coming out of the bullpen every day? Yeah, it does. And the key in so many ways is Grayson Rodriguez. If they have a sea of solid starting pitchers, I said, the Morton, the Saganos, Dean Kramer, you always have a good reliever coming out of the bullpen. You trade for one of those. If you bring in a Sonny Gray or a Castillo or a Marcus Stroman, as all those teams are looking to dump one of those salaries. If Grayson then takes the next step to legitimate all-star starter with that depth, yeah, this is a 90-win team. And that's enough to make the playoffs of the American League. And then you take your chances with a deep pitching staff. But you can't run the bullpen into the ground. In other words, you got to let your starters go 6 innings, and if they can throw you 7, fine. Because you're going to have a good reliever. But you got to stop this whole, they gave us 5 crap. This isn't old man Sully talking. This is smart man Sully talking. We've seen it. We've seen bullpens exhausted because they're used every day too much. Figure out that mid-ground. A pitcher can go 6 or 7. Your bullpen goes 2 or 3. Then everybody's happy in Baltimore. But a lot of it depends. If Grayson Rodriguez can develop himself into an ace, then moves like signing Kittredge are going to be a key for Baltimore for the pitching depth, which is exactly what they need to get back into the playoffs and maybe, God forbid, win a game. The NFL playoffs are starting very, very soon. And from big upsets and game-winning drives, they're better at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 of bonus bets guaranteed. That's $200 of bonus bets, win or lose. The FanDuel app gives you everything you need for live bets, same-game parlays, and so much more. FanDuel is predicting the Texans over the Chargers and the Rams over the Vikings. So if you're going through FanDuel, you are not going to get that Los Angeles Super Bowl that a grand total of 0 people on the planet Earth want to see. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. Let's hear from our friends over at Rocket Money. Did Rocket Money help you find any subscriptions you forgot about that you were paying for twice? That's happened to me. I've had a few subscriptions that I didn't even realize I was still paying for. And Rocket Money made it so easy to track them all down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills so you can help grow your savings. It helps bring everything together in one place, including subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year. Rocket Money has over 5 million users, saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. And you've all done that. You've looked up and you said, oh my God, how many of these streaming apps do I have? I've watched one show in 3 years on that. It's not worth it. Shut it down, cancel those subscriptions. And you can reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. All right, well, it is the 10th of January, 2025. Good year we're having so far, huh? Good year. Good omen for things. But, you know, I thank everyone for the nice notices. We're doing our best to be safe here in Southern California. Speaking of Southern California, the Dodgers are, of course, the defending World Series champs. And the Angels have had a grand total of 1 World Series title. They've had 1 pennant since being formed in 1961, which brings us to today's happy birthday, the 49th birthday to Adam Kennedy. Adam Kennedy, who was part of the trade. The Angels traded away superstar Jim Edmonds to the St. Louis Cardinals, and Adam Kennedy was part of the spoils. Adam Kennedy went to Cal State Northridge, where my son is going. That's why my son picked Cal State Northridge, said, I want to follow in the footsteps of Adam Kennedy. Well, I'll tell you one thing that Adam Kennedy did. Adam Kennedy was the 2002 American League Championship Series most valuable player. And if you look at his slash line, he batted .357. He slugged 1,000, which meant his OPS for the 2002 American League Championship Series was 1.357. Not bad. He hit 3 home runs. For a light-hitting shortstop, that's also not bad. Here's the deal. He hit all 3 of those home runs in Game 5. His Game 5 basically clinched his own ALCS MVP. Now, remember, that was 2002. That was the year where the A's won 20 straight games, and the Yankees were looking for revenge and losing the 9/11 World Series. And it was looking like we were going to have a showdown. For the 3rd straight year, the A's and the Yankees were going to meet, except this time they were going to meet in the ALCS. Naturally, the World Series was the Twins versus the Angels. The Twins, who were rumored to be contracted the year before, got all the way to the ALCS. It was one of the great stories of all time. No matter where you looked, there was a great story. Were the Yankees going to get revenge for the previous year? Were the A's going to finally get over the hump with that Moneyball year, giving Brad Pitt a happy ending? We didn't know Brad Pitt was going to be starting that yet. Or the Twins going to put up a big middle finger to contraction? Of course, none of those teams made the World Series. It was the wild card Angels who went to the World Series, who before that year had never won a playoff series, let alone a pennant. They beat the upstart Yankees, and after the Twins stunned the A's, the Angels made quick work of the Twins. After losing Game 1, the Angels won the rest of the games, and it was Adam Kennedy's 3 home runs who sent the Angels to this date their only World Series appearance, which they went on and completely broke my father's heart by defeating the San Francisco Giants. But it's interesting that Adam Kennedy is the slugger who hit the Angels into the World Series. Think about the superstars who have played with the Angels over the years. When they went to their first playoff series, Don Baylor was the MVP of the American League. He should have been Fred Lynn, but that's neither here nor there. But a big superstar on that team, along with future Hall of Famer Rod Carew and big stars like Bobby Grich and Doug DeCinces. The team in 1982 was one of the most star-studded teams I've ever seen. The aforementioned Carew, DeCinces, and Bobby Grich and Don Baylor were there, and they were joined by Reggie Jackson and Fred Lynn. They couldn't slug their way into the World Series. Jackson was on the 86 team that got to within 1 strike of the World Series, and it was Gary Pettis hit a fly ball that nearly was a walk-off pennant-clinching home run against the Red Sox. Think about the stars like Jim Edmonds. He couldn't do it. Tim Salmon. He couldn't do it. Mike Trout. Hall of Famer Vlad Guerrero. Shohei Ohtani. None of them could slug the Angels to the World Series. Only Adam Kennedy did it. And to him, we wish him a happy birthday. 49 years old, to the only slugger to ever power the Angels to the World Series. None of those MVPs, none of those Hall of Famers, just Adam Kennedy. The pride of Cal State Northridge. All right, well, hey, I wanted to get a show in here, and thanks so much for the support, everybody. Follow us at Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter or whatever it's called now, and on Instagram. I am your pal, Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram, and leave a message here and subscribe to the YouTube channel too. Safe and sound in Long Beach, California, and sending all of my thoughts to my neighbors up in Pasadena. This has been Locked On MLB for January 10th, 2025. I'm your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully.